I want to start off by saying that this is not a matter of religion. This is not a religious issue whatsoever. And as Muslims, had these people been Christians, Jews, or Hindus, we would have stood by them, because as Muslims, we stand by those who are oppressed. And we do not side with those who are the oppressors. And so then why am I mentioning the blessings, the virtues of this holy land of Palestine? I do so to give the Muslims, to give the people just one more reason to support this cause. One more reason other than this humanitarian crisis to support this cause. And so I mentioned the blessings so that for those of us who are feeling it in our hearts, maybe we start praying for those people. For those of us who are praying for them, perhaps we might start vocalizing our issues with what is going on. And with those of us who are vocalizing our issues, perhaps then we can do more to help these people. And so I start with the blessings of Masjid al-Aqsa. It is narrated that Abu Dharr al-Ghifari radiallahu anhu, he asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he asks him, what is the first masjid built? And he replied, it is Masjid al-Haram. And then the second masjid built, it is Masjid al-Aqsa. The second place of prayer built was Masjid al-Aqsa. And not only this, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him the honor of being the first qibla of the Muslims, the first direction of prayer that they face towards Masjid al-Aqsa. And not only is it known as the first qibla, but it is also known as the land of the prophets. The land of the prophets. And we have narrations of Adam alayhi salam and his close progeny visiting this land, visiting this holy land. And then after him, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Abraham, and his son Yaqub alayhi salam, Jacob, also visiting this land. And then after him we have Sulaiman alayhi salam, Solomon, who rebuilt Masjid al-Aqsa, who rebuilt Bayt al-Maqdis. And after doing so, he made a dua, he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said that, oh Allah, whoever prays in this masjid, allow it that all of his sins are forgiven. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that I'm hopeful that this dua of his was answered. And then we go to Musa alayhi salam, Moses, who at the time of his passing away, he was denied entry into Jerusalem. And he made a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He prayed to God, he said, that, oh Allah, allow me to die within proximity of this land. فَسَأَلَ اللَّهُ أَنْ يُدْنِيَهُ مِنَ الْأَرْضِ الْمُقَدِّسِ. He calls it Ard al-Muqaddis, this holy land. And so just like him, we too yearn to be in this land, but we are forced out. We are forced out of going into this land. And then, perhaps most explicitly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, when he says, إِلَى الْمَسْجِدِ الْأَقْصَى الَّذِي بَارَكْنَا حَوْلَهُ لِنُرِيَهُ, that we have blessed the land surrounding Al-Aqsa, and we have made it blessed for all the nations, for all the humanity, for all the religions, we have made it blessed. And so because of this, we will never be silent on this issue. We would never stop fighting for the cause of these people, for the cause of the Palestinians, because this is a just cause to fight for. Even if they try to silence us, even if they vilify us, for we're not the Native Americans vilified when they spoke out against the oppression that was happening to them. When they were forcefully removed from their land, did the presidents at that time, Andrew Jackson and Van Buren, did they not also support the genocide and the forceful expulsion of these Native Americans from their homeland? And I tell you that 200 years later, history truly is repeating itself. History is repeating itself. And wallahi, the tides are changing. And I will tell you that the plight of the Palestinians is the same, if not worse, than those of the Native Americans. And I will tell you this as well, that what will you be telling your grandchildren? When the facts come to light, when the facts are clear to see, what will you tell your children and your grandchildren? Were you on the side of the oppressor or on the side of the oppressed? Or will you tell them that you remained silent on an issue? On an issue in which innocent men, women, and children were dying. Innocent men, women, and children were dying. Will you tell them you remained silent at a time when people were denied food, water, and even the right to live as human beings? Will you tell your children that you remain silent at such a time? And so then I tell you, you don't have to be Palestinian, you don't have to be Arab or Muslim to support this cause. Just like you did not have to be South African to support them in the apartheid regime. Just like you did not have to be Native Americans to support them when they were expelled from their land. Just like you did not have to be African Americans to help them when they were oppressed. Just like you did not have to be Jewish to help them under Nazi Germany. You just had to be human first and foremost. And so I get to the problem. What is this? Why is this happening? For the same exact reason it's been happening all of these affairs, all of these times. Because one race sees itself as being superior than the others. Because one race, one group of people sees itself as being superior than the rest. That Palestinians, Arabs, and Muslims are not being seen as being at the equal level as an Israeli, as a European. This is why this is happening. We have seen it in the past. They justified the killing of the Native Americans by saying they are savages. And just a few days ago, I recall the Israeli Defense Ministry, he justified the killing of the Palestinians by saying that they are animals. I'm telling you, Wallahi, history is repeating itself. History truly is repeating itself. And so this ethnocentrism, this ideology that one group of people is above another, that they do not see the blood of Palestinians, of Arabs, of Muslims as being the same as the blood of an Israeli, as being the blood of a European. They do not see this. They do not see this. And it is this ethnocentrism within, it is this racist ideology within that causes them to show through their outward actions what their true face is. It shows us how self-righteous, ignorant people like Jordan Peterson are able to say, give them hell. Because to him, the life of a Palestinian child is not the same as the life of an Israeli child. It is not the same to him. The blood of an Arab, of a Muslim, of a Palestinian is not the same as the blood of an Israeli, as a European. And this is what causes, it is what causes the media to say, it is what causes them to say when an Israeli child has passed away, to say that he has been killed. But when a Palestinian child passes away, they say that rather he has simply died. This is that ethnocentrism at play. And many of us who were born post 9/11, we have lived this apparent reality. We know this to be a reality of ours. That we grew up and people looked down on us simply because we were Muslim, simply because of who we were. And this is what causes these Islamophobic attacks. It is what causes the attacks on our brothers and sisters in Islam. It is what causes attacks done on Arabs. It is what causes hijabis to be afraid at times to go out during the daytime. It is what causes Muslims to be afraid to say that they are Muslim. And it is what caused the death of that innocent single 6-year-old child in Chicago. It is because of this Islamophobic attack. And I tell you also that our simple plea is that you do not forget about the Palestinians, that you treat them like human beings, and you give them the right that human beings possess, that you treat them simply as human, and you do not forget their plight for the past 3/4 of a century, that you do not forget what they have been going through, that you do not forget about the Nakba, you do not forget about the Great Explosion in 1948, you do not forget about the Yasin. Etch these names into your soul. Remember these names and never forget them, because these facts will come into fruition later on. And I end off by giving some hope to our brothers and sisters. I say that Israel plans, and the European nations, they plan, and the media plans, and the whole world plans. But know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also plans. وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُونَ اللَّهِ. And He is the greatest of planners. وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. جزاكم الله خير.